redefining the high-performance battery. The new ProCORE18V Plus. Revolutionary tabless cell technology. Up to 71% longer runtime for your heavy-duty application. More performance. Longer battery lifetime. The new ProCORE18V Plus.
Hello and welcome to Bosch Professional Live UK. I'm Chris.
And I'm Danny.
And I'm Ella. Don't forget, as this is a live stream, if you have any questions, pop them in the chat below and I'll throw them at Chris and Danny throughout.
So Danny, come on, it's Wednesday. What's the topic today?
Well, the topic today is we're going to recover what we've done before regarding the Bosch 18-volt ProCore Plus batteries.
That's right. So we actually had a live stream back, oh gosh, it was in November, so it feels like absolutely ages ago. So in November, we wanted to give out some teaser information on ProCORE18V Plus, but now, because, believe it or not, it's now available out in the shops. So we thought we'd do a reminder, or basically kind of like a relaunch video, yeah?
Yes, we can cover all of the details involved in why this is a much better battery than the ProCore when it comes to really demanding tasks.
Right, so because obviously if you tuned in to the November ProCORE18V Plus live stream, we went through all the technology, but I'm sure there might be a few other people out there that haven't seen it yet, or there might be some people who did see that content, but maybe you've got some questions. So this is really going to be just a really quick refresher, and then we're going to really open up the floor for any questions you've got, because just like many of our battery technology, it really sometimes needs us to explain the finer details for you to understand really what the difference is. Sometimes we've had that topic with ProCORE18V NOA and bi-turbo, really trying to explain to people how we can really get that much power out of a single 18-volt battery. And now what we're looking at is with the new cell technology, how we can get even more performance out of the 18V Plus battery.
Exactly.
So before we start, obviously we want to do a little call out. Who have we got, Ella, in the chat already?
We've got a few regulars in the chat. We've got Radine, we've got PF Cutters, Marcus says hi guys, hi Marcus. We've got Stuart Andrews in the chat, he says evening guys. And Radine has also said, a surprise workwear live stream disguised as a battery live stream.
Wow, wow. Ooh, trying your luck. Well, as I said, thank you as always for the regulars joining. Hopefully we'll get a few new people in as well tonight to ask us some difficult questions. As I said, if you already asked these questions, feel free to ask them again, because obviously there's always new people signing on to the live stream all the time.
That's it. There's plenty to discover when it comes to battery tech, regardless. But when we're talking about the 18-volt plus, there's another level to it there as well.
So how should we start? I mean, probably the best way to start is talk about the reason why we've come out with this new kind of battery technology.
Exactly.
Now, when we talk about really powerful tools, we're always going to be referring to our bi-turbo brushless range. These are 18-volt bi-turbo brushless machines. Now, for those who are familiar or unfamiliar, those run on our ProCORE18V batteries. I've got an example here of one of our 12 amp hour, the big triple layer ProCORE18V battery running on our 21700 cells. Now, these machines are very power hungry. That's fair to say, isn't it?
That's fair to say, yes. I mean, we're talking about some high wattage equivalent machines like 1600 watts or up to 2000 watts in some cases when we're talking about bi-turbo products.
Yes. I mean, some examples of our ProCore batteries. Again, look, we've got the big 12, we've got the 8, and we've also got the 5.5. I mean, we also have in the ProCore range something like the 4.
I've got the 4 here.
Right. But it's important to note that the 4, this is not the battery we recommend for like high heavy duty. No. Instead, if it's heavy duty use, we're looking at the double layer, the 5s. 5.5, sorry, the 8 and the 12s.
That's it.
Okay.
When we're talking about wattage and wattage equivalents, with a double layer or a triple layer, you're looking at an output of approximately 90 amps, which is equivalent to run a 1600 watt machine up to a 2000 watt machine. With the single layer ones, we're limited to 45. So this is the same power output that you would get from a standard cool pack battery of 4 amps, just in a small compact size.
Now, if you were to say there was a drawback, right? The drawback you would say is because we are running our machines really hard, and we're running the batteries really hard too. In certain applications, and I'm talking about the really heavy duty applications, what you might find or what users might find in general, and this isn't exclusive to Bosch power tools, this is generally speaking when you are working with any kind of high draw cordless tool that has specifically, it has to have some form of battery management system.
Of course.
Which nowadays you'd expect probably a lot of people to have. But Bosch, we've had it since, what, 2007?
2007, when we first brought out lithium-ion powered 18-volt system.
On our cool pack batteries.
Yep.
Okay. So when you are driving batteries really hard in continuous hydro applications, then you might get a couple of things happen. And what we typically will call it is you'll get some form of energy or power throttling.
Yes.
So what we've had users say, okay, when I'm using my cordless tool in continuous demanding applications, then my batteries are getting hot. And that's fine. That's what we expect to happen.
It's a natural thing for lithium-ion. You're drawing energy out of there. Heat is going to build up. Obviously, any transfer of energy is going to cause some sort of heat loss. There's always a thermal portion of the energy that's going to be lost.
Yeah. But the key word there is continuous. So if you're using a tool continuously and drawing as much current as you can out of that battery, then what you'll find is your battery might start to get hot.
Yeah.
And how many users will experience that phenomenon is that the power tool itself will start to slow down. We call it like power fade. And that's perfectly normal. That's the internal electronics on the tool and the battery throttling down, trying to regulate the amount of current going through the batteries into the machine. So the battery's not going to overheat because, as you probably already know, lithium does not like really high temperatures.
Yeah, this is part of the physics of lithium-ion. It's not just with Bosch batteries, it's with any lithium-ion batteries out there. You are going to have some sort of battery management system. Even on our 12 volts, we have a battery management system as well to control that temperature there as well. So, again, we're trying to protect your investment when it comes to batteries. Obviously, they can be quite expensive, but it's also to protect machines and any other equipment that you've got it plugged into. Even down to the chargers, there's some communication between them. So you've got temperature management when you're actually putting energy into the batteries rather than taking energy out.
That's right. But it is really important to note that we are not bashing our ProCore 18-volt batteries. No. Not at all. What we're doing here with the ProCore 18V Plus batteries is we're giving you, our user, the option to get essentially a supercharged battery for those really hard, heavy, demanding and continuous hydro applications.
Yeah. Imagine it as you've got a tool bag of normal system tools. You may have one or two bi-turbo tools, but then again, you might have a large angle grinder that you really put some pressure on when you're using it, something on a really high draw. Now the Procore Plus battery has the capability of running all of those machines from just one battery. So again, it's a no-brainer, really.
Exactly. So, again, maybe many of you already know this because you might have watched the previous live streams or any of the live streams where we've discussed battery technology. But again, for those who may not know, come on, Dan, let's go through it very quickly. Let's talk about how our batteries are constructed and, more importantly, how the actual cells themselves are typically constructed in all our previous battery technology.
That's it. Right. Well, we'll start off with the 18650 cell. We've got one just here. Rather small, unassuming cell. You'll find this has come from many of our lithium-ion products in the past, even from 2003, I think it was, with the IXO, with a single lithium-ion cell. 3.6 volts, around about 1 amp hour of energy in this when they first came out. Now, the way these are constructed, and this also goes for the 21700s that you'll find in our Procore batteries and our Procore 18 volt, they are basically, within the actual canister of these particular cells, there's what we call a jelly roll. It's an anode and a cathode and a separator that is almost wound up like a roll of carpet. Yeah. And the contact points where this anode cathode are joined to the inside of this canister, so it can power. The power can actually leave the cell itself. Are a couple of points which are welded top and bottom. Now, over the years, we're aware that there are issues, and there's been a natural evolution of this technology, and so more tabs have been added to add less of a restriction for the energy going in and out of the battery. But we've come up with a solution now with our Procore 18 volt Plus, which almost eliminates that completely.
Yes, that's right. I mean, if you mentioned it already, that's fine. But when we talk about different kinds of battery technology. These are cylindrical cells. Yes. Okay. There are other kinds of battery cells or systems out there, and I'm sure someone in the chat's already going to mention pouch batteries.
Yes.
But we're always going to be talking about cylindrical cells, and that's the carpet and the jelly rolls. That's what goes inside those cells that makes stores the power. Okay.
In reality, the engineering and the physics behind even the pouch cells and these cells is very, very similar. So you're going to find the same limitations and advantages through both.
That's right. So with the standard cylindrical cells that we've got here, the tabbed design, we've discussed, and we've previously talked about this bottleneck effect
Yeah.
and the negative. So what would you say the negative effects of this bottleneck is for the user?
The main negative effects for this is obviously any sort of restriction that you're just trying to pass energy through, you're going to create a hot spot. There's going to be a heat build-up within the cell. We've already, on our Procore batteries, we've already eliminated that in the design of the batteries, the actual batteries themselves, using copper contacts on the side, low internal resistance. Fantastic at transmitting heat away from the cells. We're also with a TPE material in the side of the cells here, which also eliminates air gaps and then transmits the heat to the outside of the battery. And with our 16 amp charger, our latest charger, basically these work as almost like a radiator. The fan blows down the side of these to cool the battery. Obviously, that heat build-up is still going to take place in the Procore Plus batteries. However, it's going to be far less.
That's right, because what we've done differently in the ProCORE18V Plus batteries is we have gone to a tabless cell design.
Exactly.
Now, as Danny pointed out, we've got those traditional tabs, the older batteries, 2, 3, and now 4 on our 21700 tab cells that we've had in our ProCORE18V batteries. Now with these new ProCORE18V Plus batteries, the new cells means, essentially the tabless design means that it's a kind of a misnomer. It doesn't mean that there are no tabs, but instead there's hundreds of tabs.
So whereas before we had a sort of a carpet roll, or jelly roll as they call it, with a couple of tabs poking out each end, one for the anode, one for the cathode, positive and negative, and they were welded to the inside of the canister to allow the energy to pass in and out. With these tabless cells, the anode and the cathode are produced slightly longer, and so they overlap at either end, so the entire end of the whole roll becomes the contact point within the end of the canister.
Yeah.
So, and there's no welding that takes place within there either. Welding with the tabbed cells was probably the most expensive part of manufacture.
That's right. So I like a good, simple analogy, and I used it last time in November, and I've been using it ever since because I think it works really well. With your normal tabbed cells, you can imagine that all the energy is stored on these jelly rolls on these carpet areas, this surface area, this carpet that we've rolled up into the cylindrical cells. Now imagine that all that energy stored is on a motorway. You've got your multi-lane motorway, and that tab represents a single exit.
Yeah.
You've got all those cars, energy, and they've all got to merge off onto those single exits. And that can cause a bottleneck, you get your congestion, you get your road rage, and essentially what you're doing there is you're building up heat, or we call it internal resistance.
Exactly.
Now with the tabless designs, tabless cell design, that means your motorway now has like loads of lanes, but every single lane essentially has its own exit.
Yeah.
So there's virtually, I say virtually, there's obviously there's going to be some resistance, but it radically reduces the amount of internal resistance because all that energy can flow off and out of the tab.
Yeah.
Essentially, you said the tabs, they kind of roll over into like a rosette, don't they?
Yes, that's it. Right. It's there's basically the whole tab folds over. It's actually quite neat to look at, but they covers full contact with the entire end cap.
Now the advantages are, well, there's a few advantages. One, the most important one, is they're still 21700 cells. They're still the same size as this, which means we don't have to do anything different to the design of our internals. So we're still going to have the same internals that we had with our ProCORE18V batteries, just with the Plus batteries. Yeah. All we're doing is we're just changing the cells.
No improvements required on this. No. We've got a solution here with the HDPE material, the high density polyethylene, the TPE material, or thermoplastic elastomer, and our more solid state ECP modules built into the top of here to all manage the heat with the cells that we have. And these new cells popped into there instead of the tabbed cells have improved it even further.
That's right. And don't forget, obviously, one of the unique things about the Bosch batteries, the Procore batteries, is the copper contacts.
Yes.
Again, we always like to go on about our battery tech. We've really, really thought about this, and we really wanted to future-proof both the externals of the batteries, and now we're upgrading that with the internal cells. Yeah. So, what do we get with the Procore Plus batteries? This bad boy here, right? Look. Essentially what you're getting is you're getting lower internal resistance, right? That means on the pack level, that means the battery pack level, you're getting 28% less internal resistance. On the individual cell level, it's as high as 50%. Yeah. But that's all gobbledygook. You don't need to know that. What you get really is you get a battery that is going to get hot less. We say around 36% less heating when used in absolutely peak draw. Yeah. And I'm saying 1500 watt corded equivalent, 90 amps, constant draw.
We're talking about really leaning into an angle grinder or professional lawnmower, something like that. That's going to be at peak RPM, peak load all of the time.
Right. That means you're going to get that, as I said, that's that 36% reduced heating. But what does that translate into? That means if I get a where's an 8 compared to a normal Procore 18V 8 amp hour, the 18V plus 8 amp hour can give you up to, this is mad, up to 71. 71.
You've underplayed that.
I know, 71% longer runtime just by using the new batteries with the new cells in it. Now, obviously, there are some caveats to that, but it's not as mad as you think. It's obviously, we're talking about on really big, powerful bi-turbo machines, because obviously that's what this battery is designed for, the biggest and the most powerful Procore, bi-turbo machines. So that example of 71% is something like, or not something, it is. Example would be the GBH 18V-45C, our largest bi-turbo brushless Max Hammer rotary. Rotary Max Hammer. Yes, sorry. That's the one that's basically an 8 kilo, delivering up to 12.5 joules of energy. So that's a real heavy hitter, a great candidate for the Procore 18V Plus battery.
Yeah, definitely.
Now there are a couple of other things worth talking about in regards to, or other kinds of things. Sorry, there are other things to talk about in regards to the fact that obviously the batteries are not any bigger.
No, exactly the same size.
Their weight, look, they're basically the same weight. Was it 6 grams different?
It's 6 grams.
So essentially, as far as you're concerned, these batteries are virtually the same. Okay, when it comes to the size, weight, all you're getting, however, is a ton more performance.
Exactly.
Right? So
we've always stated around about a kilo for a 5.5 or an 8 amp battery. Anyway, it's still around about a kilo. So.
Exactly. Which is again good for you users because you don't want to have bigger batteries to run a tool for longer. I mean, obviously we do have a 12 amp hour battery here, and we will answer any questions you have about how these compare because that's a good question.
That's a good question, yeah.
But for you, the user, you don't have to worry about a new battery platform or getting, I don't know if you've made storage devices for your batteries or whatever, that all fit fine. It's what we're all about. We don't want to make it inconvenient for you. Before we get into some specifics, maybe we'll pause for a second because I'm sure we might have some questions. Is that fair, Ella?
Yeah, we've got a lot of questions actually.
I bet there'll be questions that we were going to answer in a minute, I'm sure, but let's see what we got.
Maybe. We've got a few similar questions. PF Cutters has asked, are there any plans to bring out a Procore Plus battery and even higher amp hour rating? Maybe 15 amp hour or 16 amp hour?
Maybe.
There is.
We'll cover that probably towards the end. But as you can imagine, actually, let's answer it now.
Yeah.
As you can imagine, all we're changing is the internal cells.
Yes.
Right? We're not changing the mouldings. We don't need to. They all fit the same. They're the same size. So you would argue that as time goes on, we will replace or upgrade.
It would make sense, wouldn't it?
Our other battery sizes. So obviously, look, we've got the triple stack. Yeah, you could pop 3. You could pop your 15 battery cells into that.
Yep.
And make yourself a nice 12 amp. Procore Plus battery, 18 volt plus battery, or maybe we might take the opportunity to increase the amp hours, but that's yet to be determined. But trust me, there are plans to do stuff. There are definitely plans to do stuff.
Yeah.
So we just spoke about increasing. Radine has asked if we have any plans to decrease to a 4 amp hour.
Oh, you mean get like a compact
version with Procore 18 volt?
Now, maybe. Probably later. Now, the reason why I say that, Dan, right, is the fact, remember how I said to you, the main point of the Procore 18V Plus batteries is to drive the biggest machines. Yeah. And obviously, the single layer compacts, we don't recommend these for our big bi-turbo machines. They'll work, but you're not going to unleash the maximum amount of power that you can get out of a bi-turbo machine. I would counter that with the potential of using them on maybe a 700 watt equivalent or 800 watt equivalent cordless grinder. Some of the smaller grinders. Yeah, possibly. It would make perfect sense to have something that's able to manage more heat, but not bi-turbo machines, definitely not, but maybe some of the high load system tools that we do. Yeah, but I would generally say it's not. We're absolutely certain it's not going to just be the 8 amp hour. No. Okay. When it comes to bringing tabless cells, we are absolutely convinced that we're going to have a nice range. It's not just going to be the 8. Yeah. Remember when we said about the evolution of winding the cells tighter and tighter internally? Everything's constantly evolving. Technology is constantly evolving. So things will change. We'll roll with the punches. Sorry, I think I confused Radine there because he didn't ask that question, someone else did. But Radine has asked, does it have a longer runtime compared to the 12 amp standard Procore? Good question. Yeah, we'll cover that. I think, as I said, it's a good question, but it requires a little explaining because it's circumstance different circumstances. Like, so the ProCORE18V Plus battery is absolutely going to be the winner in many cases, but there are some exceptions that mean the 12 is not obsolete, not at all.
When we're talking runtime, especially not, because obviously it still has that higher capacity.
Yeah, we'll cover, when we get towards a little further into the live stream, we'll definitely address that question.
And last question for now, PF Cutters has asked, how much more runtime percentage-wise have you got on the Procore Plus battery using the GSA 18-volt 28 recip saw?
28?
Yeah, we have the bi-turbo recip saw.
That's one of the ones we haven't tested.
Yeah, that is actually, unfortunately, one machine we haven't tested. We've tested quite a few tools, and we're actually going to start, we're going to talk about our comparison and some of the, we've had them for a little while, so we've had a nice little play and worked out, found out the pros and cons. The recip saw isn't actually one we've tried. One of the reasons why is because, well, generally, I'm not a big fan of recip saws. They kind of,
No.
yeah, they're hard work sometimes. Even with our vibration reduction system, you don't want to be using a recip saw for a long period of time. And unfortunately, our bi-turbo brushes and our cool pack batteries mean that can last quite a long time.
Well, the thing is, you're going to have to do it twice.
Yeah,
Because obviously, technique-wise, same pressure. To get somewhat of an accurate test. Yeah, no, that's going to be a bad day.
Well, it's going to require some dedication, but I'm dedicated to it. So now that you've asked the question, I'll have a go.
Yeah.
At the very least, we can give you some form of no-load speed, although then again, maybe it might be good enough. We can do that comparison for you. I would argue that perhaps the recip saw doesn't qualify as a high enough draw machine, possibly. But it is very close. It's right on the margin there with a machine that would benefit from the ProCORE18V Plus battery.
It's more stop-start usage, isn't it, with a recip? It's you're not on the trigger constantly and then moving from workpiece to workpiece, you're stopping in between. So, again, not the highest draw in constant use, but yeah, we'll give it a go.
Yeah,
it's good.
But let's jump over to some example products that that are or can be used in that constant high energy draw use. The first example will be something like up there in the top left corner, the GPH18V-40.
Yep.
Okay, that is our second to largest STS rotary max hammer.
So 40 millimetres maximum drilling diameter in concrete with that one.
That's right.
It's a big hammer in its own right, second down to the 45.
All right, so we're looking at about a 50% performance boost just from moving from the ProCORE18V to the ProCORE18V Plus battery. Right? When it comes to the big hammer, we already mentioned it, the 45, the GBH18V-45C, that's our largest STS rotary max hammer. That's the one which gives you the biggest, the 71% better performance. Okay, and we're talking about the difference between drilling maybe 1.3 meters to 2.2 meters.
Exactly.
Right? That's a massive difference in the amount of performance you get.
Yeah, and when we're talking about the GWS or indeed the GWX 18V-15SC, so our bi-turbo grinders, I believe we've got one of them up there, you're talking about 44% more material removal with that as well. So again, you're getting up there in numbers, really. You're going to notice the difference between these, aren't you?
One of the machines that we would love to have done a live demonstration, but the problem is that'll take too long, is something like our really big 12-inch 18-volt bi-turbo brushless machine. That's our GCM 18V-305 GDC. Easy for you to say. Okay, 12-inch bi-turbo brushless saw. We're looking up nearly 50%, 41% more cuts.
We're going to get through a lot of wood when it comes to testing it.
That's right.
That's
ridiculous.
ridiculous.
We were going to film some content on that showing the differences between the two, but luckily one of our colleagues in Germany did that for us, so we can play that video instead. Okay, another machine, circular saws, another high-energy, constant draw machine. If you're running lots of lengths of that, right, that's the kind of machine that's a really great candidate for the ProCORE18V Plus battery. We're looking at, what, 22% more cuts?
20% on that one, yeah.
Right, so again, circular saws, I'm sure if you've used them, they're actually higher draw than people think.
That's it.
They actually are very power-hungry tools, and you tend to use them quite a lot. Constant draw, constant draw.
That's it. It's larger materials, you're on the trigger for a long time. So the GPL 18V-750, we've got the Lawn and Garden Professional leaf blower back here, 750 cubic metres of air per hour, a ridiculous amount of air passing through this thing. It needs that bi-turbo motor. You're getting 16% longer runtime, but that's a very power-hungry machine.
Yes, exactly. I mean, the runtime on these blowers at maximum power isn't going to be that high anyway. I mean, you don't have to run it at maximum.
You don't have to run it at maximum all the time. So obviously, it's going to be exponential. The slower that you run it, tailor it obviously to the conditions that you want to use the machine, you're going to get exponentially more runtime out of a Pro 18V Plus battery.
Yeah, so full power, full pelt, you're going to get that 16%. Doesn't sound like much, but actually, it really matters. But then to a brand new product, I say brand new, we've had it for a little while now, since the beginning of the year. We've got our new GAS 18V-12 MC. Okay, our new 18-volt bi-turbo brushless M-class dust extractor. Now, again, super high draw. It has to be, because it's running an M-class filter.
Yeah,
right?
It has to have that level of suction, the litres per minute, to actually qualify as an M-class dust extractor. And remember, we're doing this off an 18-volt battery as well. So
one battery.
One battery.
Right, so that's a really high draw, constant load. You know, remember always, the Procore 18V Plus battery is really at home with something like a 1500 watt corded equivalent draw, 90 amps constant. And that's a really great candidate. You're getting 12% longer runtime. Just again, I'm swapping the battery from the Procore 18V Plus to the 18V, sorry. I'm getting all these pluses and V's mixed up. The Procore 18V and the Procore 18V Plus battery. Remember, if we haven't mentioned it already, they're both 8 amp hours. So that's a very important thing to make sure we discuss. Then the Procore 18V Plus battery isn't more amp hours. Everyone's always used to, okay, higher amp hour means longer runtime, but true to form, here at Bosch, we want to make things complicated, don't we? We want to make it less clear. Same amp hours, but up to 71% longer runtime.
That's it. Same charge times, same energy going into the battery. You can get it out a lot quicker, a lot freer.
Yeah, exactly. Right, so there's some of the examples of the machines that we've had to play with over the few months since we obviously got our examples here back in November. We've had a great time. Well, I say great time. Yeah, just continuously working material all day. But actually, luckily for us, one of our friendly colleagues, Dieter, over in Leinfelden, in our HQ, he ran a little test for us, so we didn't have to. He took the hit running all that material. He did the comparison for us on a Procore 18V battery and the Procore 18V Plus battery on one of our bi-turbo brushless table saws. Yeah,
table saws was one of the ones that we haven't done.
That's right. That's the GTS 18V-216. Right. That's obviously an 8-inch table saw. Right? And that's a great example because he ran that constant draw, feeding material through it. So let's run that video and we'll talk over it. So you can see left and right the different batteries. They're both fully charged. And I don't think I remember what depth he cut, but it doesn't really matter here because what we're showing is the difference between the two.
He's running the same blade at the same depth of cut, so we've got some consistency between the two tests here. But there you go, you can see he's racing through the material there on both of the machines, both quite capable of cutting multiple strips over and over and over again.
I'm glad he did this and not us. This would have taken a while. Well, I say a while. He's not that fast normally. I think he's straight up. Right. Okay. So look, this obviously the battery is going to be getting warmer because you're really driving that motor and that battery hard. See here, what's that? About 12. At 12, you see that the Procore 18V battery has stalled. Well, not stalled. The ECP has kicked in. But you can see there's still charge left in the battery. That's because, as you see here, the battery cells have got hotter. If we got about, what's that? About 56 degrees compared to 44 degrees on the Procore 18V Plus battery at the same point.
And it's still going.
Yeah, it's still going. We're powering up here. I think we'll get well over 20, not a problem. Okay, remember, same amp power, same voltage, okay? Just the tabless cell difference between the two.
He's doing this on hardwood as well, so he's really torturing the battery as hard as he can with this particular one.
And you can see here, he's drained that battery completely flat now. That means the ECP, the electronic cell protection, didn't need to kick in because of that the tabless cell technology in the Procore 18V Plus batteries, managing that heat because of the lower internal resistance, which meant that the electronic cell protection didn't need to kick in, didn't need to switch off the machine, and you could drain that battery completely. Right, so no interruption. So that's really the point here. You've got a high draw, heavy duty application, you don't want any interruptions, then you really recommend upgrading or purchasing the new Procore 18V Plus battery.
That's it.
Right, okay, so thank you, Dieter, for doing all that hard work. Really appreciate you doing that for us. Saved us a lot of time because Danny and I are always busy. So thank you very much. Okay, so we've kind of covered the performance boost difference. We have kind of mentioned the fact that the batteries are the same amp hour, so the same storage, but you're getting the ability to drain that battery completely.
Exactly.
It's basically almost, I like my analogies, and I like to think that the ProCore 18V Plus battery is like a sprinter, but a sprinter that does a marathon and doesn't slow down at all.
Yeah.
Whereas the normal battery technology, the normal tabless cylindrical cells, have to take a little bit of a breather every now and then. They're not suited to do that constant load. But we had that conversation about, what about 12 amp hour batteries?
Yes.
So are they obsolete? Are the ProCore, the normal ProCore 18V batteries obsolete?
Not at all.
No.
Not at all. At the end of the day, if you're not doing sort of this high draw load all the time, say, for instance, you're looking for additional run time out of a combi drill or a non-bi-turbo hammer, one of the nice GBH 18V-22, for instance, fantastic little bit of kit. Of course, with the dust extraction on there as well, you've got an extra draw on the battery. The ProCore system works absolutely fine. You're never going to tax the battery to the level of which you'd require an 18-volt plus battery. However, if you do have a machine that does, but you don't want to use it all the time, it's the ProCore 18V Plus is the perfect battery for you for both applications.
Okay, let's step it up to a really big bi-turbo brushless machines. Let's stick with combis. Let's go for the GSB 18V-150.
Yeah.
Off C. One of our most powerful combi, 150 newton meters of torque. Would that benefit from a ProCore Plus battery? Probably not, actually.
Probably not. No.
Why? Because you're using it more infrequently, and that GSB, as powerful as it, and it is a powerful machine, as powerful as it is, it probably doesn't. It's not going to be drawing that high draw all the time. So that means you'll be perfectly fine with a standard 5.5, 8, or if you really want a 12 amp hour. I mean, that's a bit overkill, but you probably won't benefit. You won't need to. You won't get the maximum benefit from the ProCore 18V Plus batteries. No. So you don't have to rush out there and upgrade unless you really want to.
No. That's
okay. Ella, have you got any questions while we're
Yeah,
going?
we've had loads of questions come in. Alan has asked, what about the 12-volt line? Will there be any new batteries? And Tardimo followed that up by saying 12-volt tools would benefit from tabless cells as well. Those tools run at lower voltage, so need more current to operate. Right,
we've had the conversation previously about the 12-volt range. 12-volt batteries and whether or not we're going to get a ProCore equivalent. And we've kind of been saying probably not. And the one reason why is because we'd have to upgrade to the larger cylindrical cells, the 21700s.
Yeah.
And that means we'd have to make the batteries bigger, and then we'd probably have to change the mouldings for the machines too.
Believe it or not, the cells within the 12-volt batteries are packed in super tight. They're close up to the side of the battery inside, and again, draws the heat out. Heat can get out of the batteries. Perfect. However, if we went to the 21700, the only other way around that would be to increase the size of the handle. That means new machines, or have a dummy stalk on the battery and just put 21700s in the bottom section as we do on the 4 amp or the 6 amp 12 volt.
But the elephant in the room is, do you need ProCore power with a 12-volt machine? That's what we will do. The 12-volt platform, as good as it is, and it is a powerful and it is a really good range. You know, the main focus for 12-volt is ergonomics, lightweight, and compact machines.
That's it.
Right?
There will always be a tendency for people to try and overpower a 12-volt, or for you using it for a purpose that it wasn't actually physically designed to do.
No,
the gearbox
a tradesman using a tool. No, of course not. No, they read the specs and they follow the specs to the letter, just like we tell them to. Yeah, no, of course.
Exactly. So you're say with a little 12-volt recip saw, you can put whacking great long recip blade in that, and yeah, it'll work.
Good effort, yeah.
It probably will, but the chances are, because you're putting more load on the actual gearbox, then you're going to wear the gearbox out sooner. Everything's going to wear and tear to a certain degree anyway, but that's the reason why we give specs to machines, to get you the longest runtime and the most reliability out of your machines.
Yeah, but to answer your question in a nutshell, currently there's no plans that we've seen to upgrade the internal cells that go into our 12-volt batteries, and that means we're probably not going to be bringing any equivalent of ProCore or ProCore 18V Plus to the 12-volt range. Not for now.
Not for now.
Okay.
Radine has said, I'd like to see bigger batteries for really heavy duty tools. And to follow on from that, Stuart said he has a GBH36V-Li Plus. Will we see 36-volt plus batteries?
First question was, sorry, remind me, I've already forgotten it.
Radine would like to see bigger batteries for heavy duty tools.
I mean, bigger batteries. I mean, the 12 amp hour is a pretty big battery.
Yeah.
And you say for heavy duty, I mean, that's exactly what the ProCore 18V Plus battery platform is all about.
Yeah.
So if you're wanting a bigger capacity ProCore 18V Plus battery, I would recommend first, give this one a go. Because
Exactly.
remember, with up to 71% more runtime, that's what you want. You want more runtime. You're not going to get more power. The machine's already delivering maximum power. You're just going to be able to deliver that constantly for a longer period of time.
Exactly.
If you want more runtime, you've still got things like the 12 amp hour if you need it for a lower draw machine, still by turbo, of course. But I don't know, bigger? I mean, how big do you want? Let's ask how big batteries do you want? I mean, you don't want it too big and too heavy. You want the power and weight ratio to be the right balance.
We quite often get tied up with this whole power thing. And a lot of people associate voltage with power. In this case, or the case with our 18-volt batteries, that's not the case. We're talking about wattage equivalents, so 1600 watts. We can get 1600 watts of corded equivalent power out of
2000.
For 2000 on these ones particularly, 2000 watts of equivalent cordless power out of an 18-volt battery. The same as using an 18650, 20 cells and a 36-volt battery, 90 amps.
Yeah.
Exactly the same, 2000 watts. So we're actually exchanging the amps for the larger cells, managing the heat, and basically giving the same output with an 18-volt battery as we did with the 36.
So we're basically, we're doing very clever things with 18-volt.
Yes.
And that's our job. Like 90% of our job is trying to explain how can we possibly get that corded performance or that 36-volt kind of performance out of a single 18-volt battery. Because most people go, don't believe it.
Yeah. The takeaway point is power is watts. Watts equal power. Right. Regardless of how you get there, it's the watts you need to look out for. So
that's our job, to try and explain how volts isn't the whole thing.
No.
It's not as simple as that. It doesn't work that way.
It's part of the calculation. There's so many variables along the way.
Okay, and sorry, second half of that question was?
I have a GBH36V-Li Plus. Will we see 36-volt plus batteries?
Unfortunately not. The 36-volt range for us is being, I think we said it a little while ago when we had some new products come out, it was the GBH18V-28. And I made the comment there that the 36-volt range, was obviously we're looking at rotary hammers, but the 36-volt range, the Bosch Professional 36-volt range, is being, I like to call the word sunsetted.
Yeah.
Right, it's done a great job for us, but now because with the power that we can deliver from not only our standard 18-volt, right, because that's really powerful now, but definitely with the ProCORE18V and by turbo brushless range, it outperforms our old 36-volt.
To be a tabless cell, it would have to be the 21700 cell. They don't do a tabless cell in the 18650 cell. 36-volt batteries, single stack and double stack, both use 18650 cells. So 10 cells against 20 cells. How big the battery? It would be huge.
It would, and also we would have to develop an entire line of products, and we don't need to, because that's again, that's the whole point. That is what we're doing. We're bringing out more and more powerful machines, but still running on the 18-volt platform. And that's what this battery is here to do. This is here to give you more flexibility to run those big machines for even longer.
Yeah.
Because if you had if people have used the bi-turbo machines, and if you had any kind of negativity or criticism, is they might say, "Oh, I wish it lasted a little bit longer." So we've listened to you, and that's why we brought this battery out specifically for those people.
I think we might have answered this question in the previous live stream on Procore Plus, but Radine has asked, are the tabless cells made by Samsung like the current cells?
Well, we use multiple manufacturers for the actual the cells. We've got Samsung, Sanyo, same as Sony, Panasonic, and I believe for some of our HG products, our home and garden products, we also use LG. So all large, reputable brands when we're talking about cell manufacturing.
Yeah, we haven't wanted to dismantle, and I don't recommend it to you guys out there, but we haven't had the opportunity to have a look inside any of the ProCORE18V Plus batteries to see what manufacturer it is. But rest assured, whoever we choose is always going to be the best supplier at the time for these battery cells. We're not. We're
I'll
not
see if I can see on here.
Appeal it, are you?
No, this is a Samsung. That one's a Samsung, and that's Samsung as well. They're both Samsung. So yeah, we've been using reputable brands for quite some time now.
Yeah. What we might do is we might reach out to some of our central colleagues to see whether or not there's a specific manufacturer that we're using for tablets, but it wouldn't make a difference anyway. We're obviously going to have the really highest quality control on whatever we put into our battery tech, because it's so critical to our message out there.
Exactly.
We have had another question. Alexi's asked, does Procore 18-volt plus batteries have BMC inside the battery or inside the charger?
BMC, I guess, is your battery management
management control system.
If cut to the overhead, perhaps, just to show those who might not have seen it before. Right, here's an example of our electronic cell, or part of the electronic cell protection system.
Yep.
Obviously, it's our circuitry on the battery.
This is kind of your transmitter. You've got a receiver both based in all of the machines. All of the 18-volt lithium-ion products have a receiver, a communication between the two parts of the puzzle there, and the chargers as well. So the chargers can modify their cooling rate. They can activate cooling fans to cool the battery. It's all about communication. If we look at the top of the cell there, actually, on the overhead camera, you can see we've got both positive and negative here, which are your usual points of contact for energy transfer. We also have 3 data lines in here as well. We ask this question quite a lot of times about battery adapters as well. Definitely don't use battery adapters.
Yeah, do not recommend them.
What they will do is they'll interrupt these lines of data between the power tool and the battery, and then the battery is running amok. The machine is pulling more power than it should do, and at the end of the day, you run the risk of damaging either the battery or the machine. It
turns a very intelligent system with feedback loops into a dumb system, and that is detrimental to both the power tool and, more importantly, your investment as a battery. So we unfortunately, just cannot recommend it. So yes, all our batteries, all our lithium-ion batteries, 18-volt, have some form of battery management system all the way back to 2008 with the CoolPack batteries, the non-CoolPack ProCore, the non-ProCore batteries. They've all had it ever since we came out of lithium-ion tech.
And 12-volt as well. That's also got a thermistor in there that monitors the temperature, both on the double stack and the single stack, and a small module just underneath the contacts at the top to monitor and talk to the charger and the machine as well.
Just quickly following up on what you just said, Alexi has asked, does it balance the cells?
Oh, in charging? Yeah, I'm sure it does.
Yes, 100%. Of course, do you want to go into a little bit more of the manufacturing process of cells? We can go into that.
Yeah, let's do it.
So basically, when the cells that come off the production line, it's kind of like an organic process. What they'll do is they'll pull the cells off and they'll measure the internal resistance. Now, these in a battery, if you have 5 or 10 cells, like with an 18-volt, these all have to match the same internal resistance. So they're put in bins. This is a process called binning, where they make sure all of those cells, or those 10 cells that go together to make a battery, all have the same internal resistance. This ensures that all of these cells are the same, and one of them is not going to get punished, because your path of least resistance is going to pull all its energy through that one weaker battery. Not weak as the wrong word, the one with least resistance. As long as they're all the same within the battery, then all's good.
That's right, yeah. So obviously when you're charging the batteries as well, it's the same as when you're discharging. You don't want to charge some batteries and leave some empty. So they have to, when you refer to balance charging, making sure that all the cells are all charged to the equal level. That's all very important in a high quality battery. So that's all done by the smart charger.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
And the last 2 questions for now are the price of the new battery and when they are available to buy.
Well, if you've missed the beginning, that's the reason why we're having today's live stream, because the ProCORE18V Plus batteries are available now.
Yes.
So I would recommend you pop down to your local dealer and have a word with them, see if they've got some in stock. If they don't, I'm sure they can order some for you as well.
Of course they can.
Of course they can, yes. And I've forgotten the first part of that.
Was the price of the
price.
battery.
Yeah, price. We don't get involved in price.
No,
we're trainers, we don't need to know that. But trust me, as far as I'm aware, that the price of these batteries is only marginally more than the normal ProCore. But again, it completely depends on who your local dealer is. They might be selling it at a discount, not a discount, but a bargain price, I'm sure. But they are not radically more expensive compared to the ProCore, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, it's only you're getting a lot of extra performance for very little price, and you're not having to buy a bigger battery or heavier battery.
And again, unless you need it, there's no need to go out and replace all of your 8 amp hour ProCore batteries. But if you do get a machine that will really take advantage of this, then we've got the battery for you.
Because, I mean, that's really important for the next point, which is compatibility. It's the same. Yes, it's the same that we've had, again, since 2008 on our 18-volt lithium-ion range, all forward and backwards compatible, no difference on the ProCORE18V Plus battery. So Danny says, maybe you only need it for one machine, but you can still use this battery on everything you've got in the range.
Exactly. The one takeaway, one battery for all.
Yes.
Straightforward.
Absolutely. So no problems when it comes to compatibility. Right, so So, compatibility. Obviously, these batteries are best for the biggest, most powerful bi-turbo machines. That's what we designed it for. But it doesn't matter. You can put it on any of the machines in the normal 18-volt range. Fine. And again, it's not a particularly large battery. It's not particularly heavy either. It's perfectly fine. 8 amp hours is great for any of our 18-volt machines. Doesn't matter if you're working with planers, rotary hammers, or something tiny like a light. Perfect, right? When it comes to other machines, don't forget we've obviously got our AmpShare Alliance or partnership. So there's a whole range of third-party machines all running on the Bosch Professional 18-volt platform. And those, again, fully compatible with the ProCORE18V Plus battery too. So
you can see actually on the other side here of the battery itself, we have AmpShare written on there as well. So this is compatible, as Chris said, with all of the AmpShare
That's right,
partners.
yeah. I mean, we've had it on many batteries. Here's the 8 amp hour as well. So ProCORE18V Plus. So yes, the same message, same compatibility, not a problem. Okay, cool. Now, what kind of version? What kind of executions are we going to have? Well, we're obviously going to sell. We are selling the battery on its own. But we are also selling it as part of, we used to call them energy kits, but we also sell it as a starter kit. So what we're looking at there is essentially you're going to get your. There you go. You got it there. Cool. Two batteries.
2 batteries, and I think
you've got an example of the charger.
I do have an example of the charger here. Our 16 amp charger. There you go. So,
right, so I mean,
quite a bit of kit that as well.
I mean, yes, I mean that's exactly what you want. If you're going to be using the ProCORE18V Plus batteries, we're pretty sure you're going to be hammering it hard, right? Even with that extra runtime up to 71%, then you might want to make sure that you've got a charger that match that performance. With a 16 amp charger, that means you can charge these back up really quick. 8 amp hours, which is what these are, you can charge that up to 100% in 44 minutes, or 50%, which is loads of runtime regardless, 15% in I think it's 14 minutes. 14
minutes, yeah.
Right? That's an incredible amount of, that's incredibly fast, right? And you might already know, we're not going to tease too much, I think it's already out there, you might already know that there is going to be a twin bay charger. A 32 amp twin
32 amp split into 216.
So dual bay charge, so simultaneously charging 2 batteries at 16 amps.
Exactly.
So look forward to that. You've probably seen it already. As soon as Danny and I get a sample in the offices here, trust me, we're gonna talk about that. Indeed. Right, so lots of options for you. Well, I say lots too. Battery or the chargers. We talked about where it sits in the range and how 12 amps is still relevant. Okay, so don't be throwing out your ProCore batteries. They're still 100% relevant. Okay. We're going to talk about the elephant in the room. I think there's probably already somewhere there's a question in the chat, isn't it, Ella, talking about what about pouch batteries? And we talked about this previously, didn't we, Danny?
Yes, we did. We covered off a couple of details with them. For a small capacity battery, like a 1.3 or a 1.5 amp hour battery, the pouch battery makes a lot of sense. You can make it in whichever size you like and pop it together, and there you go. If you want to up the amp hours, up the run time, basically, you have to stack these pouches on top of each other. And if you do that, because they're quite brittle, quite delicate, because they're soft bags, same as you would find in a phone or a laptop, for instance, you need to stack these up with a fair bit of armouring in between them. So they exponentially get bigger
and
heavier the more layers that you add to it. So there's a drawback there so far as size. For a compact battery, makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean, pouch batteries have a similar performance or similar characteristics when it comes to high draw, temperature regulation, and the ability to draw lots of current out of it. So we're not going to dismiss that technology. It's still quite a good technology. However, we just didn't want to go that route. Why? Because we wanted to get really good power, but we wanted to have a really good, we call it energy density. We wanted a high energy density so that we stayed with the well-established, robust cylindrical cells, and obviously we're talking here about tabless cylindrical cell technology.
The root of the HTP and the cool pack technology that we've been running with for the past, well, goodness knows how many years, since 2007, is tried, tested, and works really well for us. So it made sense to evolve that with the 21700s and put in extra levels of protection for the battery. It just seemed a natural progression. We've spent so much energy or capital in improving what we already had. then it's pointless starting all over again.
That's right. And don't get us wrong, we know what people use batteries out there for.
Yes.
The cylindrical cells are really robust. And obviously we build in extra protection into the batteries. You can see here, we improve, even on the older, I say old, this is exactly the same internals in the Plus battery too, but we reinforce the corners with steel as well. The batteries themselves are really nice and solid because we know that you guys like to use these as hammers. Right,
which we don't condone.
Absolutely, but these, if you drop this battery, you're going to be pretty sure that's going to be okay because we reinforce it, and also because it's cylindrical cell technology, that already is quite robust. So we wanted to stay with that tech, as Danny says, tried and tested. Okay, and as we say tried and tested, I said all the way back from 2007 when we first came out, and then obviously we brought the ProCore batteries out in 2018. So we've got quite a long. We've had this technology for quite a while, constantly upgrading it. So now here we are, 2024, with another new battery technology.
Exactly.
So, oh, blimey, how long have we got? What time is it? Oh, good. 6:10. I think we've done pretty good. I mean, again, we kind of rehashed information that you probably already know already, but hopefully we've had the opportunity to answer some questions. What we'll do probably, what do you reckon? We leave it a little bit, see if you've got any more questions?
Yeah, I think so.
So let's summarise very quickly while we're waiting to see if anyone's got any last minute questions. So, what's the take-home points here? Take-home points is with the new ProCORE18V Plus batteries, you can get up to 71% longer runtime. Because of all the technology inside that keeps the battery cooler, that means this battery also potentially has a longer lifetime. So the battery will last longer in the long run. Yeah.
And in addition to that, you've got full compatibility throughout the entire lithium-ion 18-volt range, way back from 2007.
So I would say that's a win-win.
It's a win-win.
We have
in actual fact.
Yeah, win-win-win. Yes, very true. So Ella, any last questions before we wrap up for today?
Yep, we do have a few last questions. PF Cutters has asked, what is the runtime on the GWS 18-volt 180 PC with the new ProCore Plus battery?
Good question. Yeah. Right, so we haven't tested it, this bad boy. One of my favourite tools as well, obviously. A small angle grinder running on bi-turbo brushless technology, giving you the cutting capacity of greater than a mains powered large angle grinder, 9-inch grinder.
When you go back to we talked about the smaller angle grinders with the 125 and the 115 blades in bi-turbo, we were looking at 44% more material removal.
Yes.
Larger disc, potentially. You're looking at similar from a mechanical point of view. Obviously, there's going to be a slight variation there because of the drag of the larger blade in the material.
That's right.
But again, it's something we haven't tested. But
again, it's one of those weird things with the ProCore Plus batteries. Almost like the harder you drive it, the better benefit you're going to get.
That's it.
The more taxing the machine is, the bigger difference you're potentially going to get between the ProCore 18V and the 18V Plus. Yeah. So that'd be worth testing. We don't have metrics, but I reckon it'd be quite good.
Yeah, I think so.
So we'll come back to you on that if we have a chance to test that later.
We have a few questions unrelated to the ProCore Plus battery now.
But why? This is the fun bit. Yes, of course. Let's see what we've got.
Alexi said, why is there no BMC in the standard ProCore batteries?
There is.
There is.
Yep, sorry if we didn't make that very clear. That is
a standard ProCore battery, that one there.
Yeah, to clarify, we've had battery management systems in all our lithium-ion 18-volt batteries since the absolute beginning, 2007 onwards. The first lot. That's what we called it, Cool Pack. We called it, the technology inside we called ECP, and we've maintained that throughout the range, so all of them do it, and obviously so does the ProCore 18V Plus.
Even the DIY range do as well.
That's true, yes.
Yeah.
Alexi's also said, according to the specs of the Bosch site, the new cordless vacuum has less CFM than the old one. Is that correct?
CFM, sorry.
I've only heard of that when referred to air compressors, to be fair.
Oh, is it to do with flow rate, is it? Sorry, it's been a long day for us. Please just remind us what you mean by that, sorry. But we'll answer it if you can just remind us what that means. I mean, if it is flow rate...
It may well be down to the internal dimensions of the hose.
Yes, exactly.
It is a different type of hose than we used on the previous one. This is slightly smaller. Yeah. Just to get the flow rate up, or the energy, the
speed,
the air speed up, for it to be a class as an M class. So it could down be that.
That's probably it, isn't it? Let's just define that's what it is. But yes, they're not the same machine. They've had to make some changes to make sure that this runs, as Danny points out, make sure that runs correctly for an M class or M class classification.
Exactly.
So just clarify that for us. But I'm pretty sure that's what you meant.
Yeah.
Alexi just commented, sorry if I get this wrong, but he's put CFM equals I-S.
Oh, you're really testing us today. Hey, look, come on, it's
It's been a long time since I went to
it's
school.
6:15 on a Wednesday. Let us come back to you on that question.
Yeah.
We'll double check exactly what you mean. But you're making a comparison between two different machines. Did you mention which machines again?
No.
Probably the 18 V-10L.
Yeah, L.
And the 12. But we'll have a look into that.
Yeah, I mean, if again, excuse us if we've gone down the wrong tangent, but if you're running a denser filter, which an M class has to be, therefore, yes, this has to be a bi-turbo brushless machine, but it's having to pull air through a much finer filter, so it becomes a bigger technological challenge to keep that flow flow rate up. So it's obviously got to go down a little bit, but we still have to maintain that speed to make that M class classification.
But there's a filter difference as well between the L and the M, not just the density, but the shape of the filter as well. We've used a conical filter in this because it has larger surface area, so it allows you to pull through larger amount of air over a larger area, so you're not going to get the same restrictions.
I just found out what it means from everyone in the chat. It means litres per second.
Yes, that's
it was L, not I.
Oh, right.
Okay, good.
That makes it
My fault.
That makes us feel better that we're not idiots.
No.
Okay, cool. Blame Anna, blame
Just
Anna.
me.
Yeah, okay, cool. But essentially that's what it means. Yes, it might be a little lower, but it's still fit for purpose.
Yeah.
It has a smaller hose, as Danny points out.
The metric's going to be regarding airspeed, not necessarily volume, which I think is what we're talking about here. So
Cool. Okay, let's move on.
Radine has asked, can you tell us more about the new Sortimo boxes?
So
I've seen some images on Facebook floating around. I couldn't possibly comment.
yes, we can't possibly comment.
I can't possibly comment on that.
We've kind of hinted that there are stuff in the works, and people have been asking for, let's just say, similar solutions that are out there in the market from other manufacturers, and obviously we're not ignoring you. So let's leave it like that we have been listening. Things are working, and maybe you've seen some, but at this stage it's a bit too early for Danny and I to talk about it. But again, as soon as we can, then we'll be discussing it in depth.
Got to give us a chance to see it first.
Yes, exactly. Maybe. We're going to go jet setting later on in the year. I think it's next month?
Yes, next month, middle of next month.
Yeah, so we might be able to update you, so we'll see.
Neil said, how about a battery redemption scheme so we can get some money for new batteries from our old batteries?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, if you're wanting to, what kind of batteries are you trying to trade in? You're wanting to trade in, don't trade in your ProCores.
No.
They're still good. Keep them. We have done battery promotions in the past. Usually we're going to do stuff like you buy a couple machines, you get a free battery. We haven't done a trade-in. If you're talking about trading in old batteries that have died, who knows, maybe there'll be some way of doing it. We obviously want to make sure that the batteries are recycled correctly.
Yes,
maybe.
But it would currently be recycled correctly, and I think there's obviously a cost involved in that as well. So that's down to the bean counters, I would say.
Yes.
Rather than us to make a sort of a decision on something like that, or even to hazard a guess at something like that.
We obviously want to make sure that we keep the loyalty of you guys running our system. If there's something we can do, we will try our best to do. We'll have a chat with the marketing teams and see whether or not they might have something cooking up something in regards to batteries. I'm not sure we'll do a battery redemption for old batteries if that's what you're suggesting, but perhaps something's in the works.
Radine said that he's seen a small glimpse of the Sortimo boxes already on Instagram.
That'll probably be the same one that I saw.
Yeah, we know what we see what's out there, but sometimes it's a little too ahead. Sometimes these sneak peeks are a little bit too early even for us.
Yes.
We have to pretend we don't know anything. Of course, we know everything, don't we, Dan? We just have to pretend that we don't. And sometimes it leaks on the internet. It's not us. No. Someone else. There's a mole somewhere. But yes, we have seen them, and they look good. I'm sure you're looking forward to seeing them, and so are we.
Just jumping back to the question about trading in batteries, Alexi said, will you accept other brands' batteries as a trade-in?
We have done things in the past, but not batteries. We had to have not promotions, we had like trade your tools and things like that. So it's not beyond us.
A lot of the shows that we've done in the past have had stuff like bring in a grinder disc and we'll replace it with an X-Lock disc or something like that.
No, we did a power tool one. A little while ago we had a Crusher Combi. I think I was actually involved in that back in the days when I was in marketing. Crusher Combi, for example. Bring in one of your old machines, we'll lend you one of ours, and if you like it, you get to keep it, that kind of thing. And then other people copied us because it was such a good idea. Who knows, maybe. Right, now you've said it, I'm sure someone in marketing is listening and they're like, I've got a really good idea. They're going to steal your idea, I'm sure. But nothing currently, but we have done things like that in the past.
Any news on the 18-volt router?
Yes! Where was it? I was
Yes, waiting for that.
God, you forgot. I thought you'd forgotten about it. Well, yes. Any news? Well, we know it's coming.
Yep.
Whether
Actually, to be fair, you guys are probably more informed about it than we're allowed to be informed about.
Yes,
it,
I bet you know
That's
more than
the
we can talk
Yeah.
about. Yes. Well, let's just say yes, 18-volt router, but there's a load more.
Yes.
There's so much other stuff that we can't tell you about. If you broke into our workshop, I recommend it. Can't condone that. Then you'll see a lot of really great goodies. Because this year, 2024, there are a lot of great products. Actually, I'm pretty sure some of you guys have already seen the roadmap. Because that also leaked too. So you already know. You already know there's a lot of great stuff coming, and obviously the router is going to be one of them.
There's a few tools that are more industrial, more specialist tools that are coming out that I can't wait to get my hands on. I know that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So looking forward to that.
Can you tell us anything about the GDR 18-volt 220C?
It's good. It's really, okay, how about
It's really good. It's very good. Yeah.
Okay, look, the fact that you've just got that instant reaction, oh, guys, you don't know what's coming.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. No, we don't know anything.
No.
Yeah, look forward to that. That's coming soon. Yeah, maybe we'll get to talk about that in the next month, I think.
I think so. Yeah. Yes, definitely.
Last few questions. Radine has asked, why don't you at least start selling the beanie hats you had at Ali Pali?
It's a good question. Unfortunately, I don't have my hands on the key to the cage where they're kept.
Yes. Right, well then we'll pass that message directly to the people that obviously organise all the merch. At the moment,
we won't name check them.
Yeah, at the moment we can only give it away free. Oh no. Yeah. Do you know what? I think we've got enough people requesting. I think we should be giving out some freebies at some point.
Yes, I think so.
You have to obviously pass some kind of question to make sure that you're eligible, that you're a real fan, that you can have a Bosch beanie. But at the moment we don't sell them. Instead, we just give them away. So if you want a beanie, then make sure you come to an event.
That's it.
Right? And then we give them to you for free. So do it that way. That's if you want our workwear.
Does that class as workwear? I think it does.
Yeah, so there you go. So we've done it, lads. We've got the workwear, and we're giving it to you for free. So again. If you want some of our merch, feel free. Come to one of our events. We've got plenty coming up in the next few. We've got so many coming up this summer. We've got weeks of it, to be honest. Whether or not Danny and I will be there, I don't know. I think Ella's been at a few events. So if you want to meet Ella, if you want to have selfies with me and Dan, maybe you want to come to some of the events, we'll make sure that we tell you which ones we're going to be at, and you can grill us on anything you'd like, anything to do with ProCORE18V Plus or whatever.
Exactly.
All right. So, and get a beanie.
Yep.
Better order more beanies.
Order more beanies,
just in time for summer. Okay.
The last question is a bit more of a serious one. Since you prioritise the new technology for your bi-turbo range, how about making pouch battery technology for your 12-volt line of tools?
Again?
Do we need it?
It's a good question.
Yeah, but do we need it? That's the point again. It's maybe.
Yep.
But I don't know if we want.
It's a plausible route.
Yes, it is.
However, we've already got a really good range of 12-volt batteries working a really good range of 12-volt machines.
If you want more runtime, you've got 4 and 6 amp hours. 6 is loads. 6 is a lot of time. So again, we're probably going to wrap up the live stream now, but feel free to pop it in the comments or in the final bits of the chats. You know why would you want that extra high draw potential from a pouch battery? I mean,
the thing is, it's all about surface area, the anode, the cathode, and the separator. Now it's been perfected over years to get the maximum amount of surface area as we can out of an 18650 cell. Right, making it into a bag, basically, and then fitting it into an already designed battery housing, it's going to take years to get to the same sort of efficiency out of the actual cell. Because these are designed to fit with the machine. Makes sense to stick with these.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I feel like we're really happy with our 12-volt platform. And moving to a pouch battery, it's like, well, we don't here at Bosch. We don't just do things for the sake of doing it. We have to really think about what is really the benefit for you, the user, to use this new technology. And again, we've discussed a lot of the advantages of pouch cells is the ability to be higher draw.
It makes a lot of sense, pouch cells, if you're using lower capacity batteries, compact batteries. 12 volts already compact.
Yes, and that's the best way of looking at it. That sums it up best. So at the moment, no, I've not seen any plans. I mean, I've not seen any plans for us, Bosch Professional, at all to use pouch, let alone in 12. So who knows? As I said, we're never going to turn anything down. If the technology evolves in pouch, we see a benefit for it, maybe. But again, I think we've got a lot of a lot of investment and a lot of R&D in these cylindrical cells.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so it's a long day for us. Nearly 6:30. We knew it was going to be an interesting one. I'm glad that we had loads of really great questions on this technology because, again, it's not an easy thing to explain sometimes.
No.
It's better that you ask us questions so we know what we need to answer.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we'll just ramble for an hour and hope that we've answered the questions.
Yeah. Okay.
So, again, thank you very much for myself. I can't remember what the next live stream is going to be about, but don't worry. Make sure you check out our socials and then we'll be bringing up the topic at some point, won't we?
Exactly, yeah, we will do.
So, again, thank you very much from myself.
And from me.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye, guys.